Because I know exactly what's gonna happen. You're probably gonna realize that that program's teaching you the exact same things I'm telling you not to do, which is doing cold outreach straight away. And then you're gonna try all this cold outreach by yourself. You're gonna feel so burnt out. It's gonna be so tedious, so disheartening when you get those rejections. Gone through the Guru programs. It's good, teach you the basics, but when it comes to outreach, lead sourcing, there's not real solid strategies there. Most of them are so big now that they probably never ever have to rely on outreach or figuring out these systems ever again in their entire life. Guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm feeling super summery, got a floral shirt on. it's kind of crazy me even wearing something crazy like this, but long story short guys, in today's video we're actually going to be breaking down whether or not you can actually genuinely start a social media marketing agency from scratch, scale it to 10K with actual $0 in your actual bank account. Now, first and foremost, guys, the reason why I'm doing this is because I see that a lot of people kind of like out there, I won't say any names, but like the bigger dudes are obviously starting to break down and kind of like pass on to you guys that you can actually start a social media marketing agency from $0. Now, technically it is true. And here's how you would technically go about doing that. Here's how you go about doing that. You could either do cold outreach via like LinkedIn, you could do cold outreach via like Instagram, or you could go and grab a domain from like a free domain, which would be like a Gmail. Now, I don't really recommend doing emails and sending emails out to brands if you're just using a Gmail. It looks super unprofessional. And think about it. Would you realistically take a business owner seriously, right? That's trying to charge you, get you on a call and then charge you like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10K a month if they've literally not even got a professional domain. And what I mean by a professional domain is your name at your actual domain.com or .co.uk or .net. or whatever it is. So I personally wouldn't be taking people like that very seriously. Not only that, but if you've got $0 in your account and stuff like that, you won't be able to, you know, grab like a very simple website, if you will, because most of the websites are obviously going to charge you. Even if you're using WordPress and you've got actual $0 in your account, it's going to be very difficult for you to even get a WordPress website. And the reason for that is because yes, WordPress is free. And that is the alternative I recommend to students, even if they are on like a shoestring budget, if you will. The only problem is that, well, it's not really a problem if you've got more than $3. But basically, if you've got less than $3 in your account, basically, is what I'm trying to say, is that WordPress requires you to have hosting. Now, hosting can actually cost like $3.50 if you go to like HostGator. I'm not affiliated with those guys, but I know that they're very good. And HostGator is one of the hosts I actually use. Hosting is basically where you actually just host your website online, like the actual website files itself. They actually have to live somewhere. And hosting is basically where those files basically live. And your URL is the address to those files, if you will. So that's kind of like how it works. And without any money, you obviously won't be able to afford hosting. If you can't afford hosting, you don't have a website. If you don't have a website, it might look and come across as unprofessional to most, like, you know, potential clients, stuff like that. Now, not to say that having a website is the most important thing, because I know that a lot of you guys out there are actually like, you know, trying to start an agency, and the first thing you do is trying to build this elaborate, fancy ass website with like loads of scrolling animations and things that look good on the website, and like 10 different services that you've got listed and all this crazy stuff and all these navigation bars. Like, guys, chill out. You don't need a crazy website. You just need a simple funnel that basically funnels people, shows people what you do. You know, I help real estate agents go from 30K to 100K per month within this amount of time frame without having to do cold calls ever again. That would be a nice, strong kind of like offer, or like a value statement is what we call it in this industry, if you will. You know, you help certain niche to do a certain thing without certain compromise. That is basically the formula I teach inside of H-Tramitation. If you want to enroll in that, by the way, the new website is actually built out for you guys, so you can take a look at that. There's an up-to-date walkthrough as well, so if you haven't seen the old one, the new one has just dropped, literally not even 4 days ago or something like that. So definitely take a look at the time of recording this, so definitely take a look at that particular new walkthrough. It's absolutely phenomenal. You actually get value out of that as well. I've literally seen people literally tell me that the actual walkthrough itself was valuable, which is crazy because I'm only walking through a program, but from the stuff that I'm mentioning, they can see why the hybrid system is very valuable, if you will. The link is below. Long story short, enough plugging. That being said though, guys, so without a website, you're going to look slightly unprofessional. Without a domain, you're definitely going to look unprofessional. So technically, you can start an agency with $0. And I see why a lot of people kind of push the starting with $0 out there. Because obviously, when you're broke, you obviously start searching online, like how to make money online, best ways to make money. Then you come across all these different business models, such as like Amazon FBA, drop shipping, trading, crypto, Sometimes even real estate pops up. Then you come across into SMMA, and then you see SMMA has like this low barrier of entry where you can literally just go and get an email or send a whole bunch of emails to a whole bunch of businesses. And yes, that actually technically can work, but it's much harder than you actually think. Now, just to give you a bit of context, and I mentioned this in pretty much all of my recent videos, I want to make sure that I rewire people's brains, because a lot of people think they can come into SMMA and get to 10K per month within like the first month. It doesn't work like that. And the reason for that is because it actually takes more outreach than you actually think it does. For example, like me, it literally took me 1,600 emails to individual different businesses over a period of 8 months, right? And I was testing this out very slowly. I was only sending like 10 emails a day. I wasn't really worried about it because I had Upwork working for me, which I'll talk about in a second. But I was doing 10 outreach a day over by myself, just personalizing them. It took me about an hour as well, hour and 15-ish minutes as well to do 10 emails, by the way, because they were very personalized. And that literally took me 8 months to land my very first ever ecom client. Towards the end, by the way, when I started getting good at setting meetings, well, I technically got quite good very quickly at cold emails and started setting meetings, but nothing was converting for me, which is another thing a lot of people don't explain. Just because you have a sales call doesn't mean you're going to convert them. You might even go 8 sales calls in and not close a single client. You might even go 10, 12 sales calls in and not even close a single client. In fact, the average kind of like beginner has normally about a 15 to 20% close rate. That basically means out of 10 calls, you're only going to close maybe like 2 out of those 10 calls. That's 1 in 5, if you will. So it's one in 5. You might actually just close 2. If your close rate is below that, like a 10%, you're only close 1 client out of 10 calls. So numbers are much more, I won't say difficult, but they're bigger than what you actually think. I think a lot of people underestimate SMMA. And the thing I don't like about SMMA as well, just real quick guys, is that a lot of people think that because it's called SMMA, it's not a real business. So SMMA, it's not a real business. I don't know what it is, but this is actually a real business. So my question to you is, would you start any other business with $0? Like, why would you want to start a business with $0? Here's what I recommend. Yes, you can start an actual agency with $0. And again, how you would do that is you would need to go about doing lead sourcing yourself. So finding leads yourself, you then have to qualify those leads yourself. So you'd have to, for example, if you're in the real estate industry or dental industry or gym industry, you'd have to obviously go to Google and start Googling like gyms near me or gyms in certain location or real estate agents or realtors. I know that you guys in the United States and stuff like that, just the rest of the world in general, call them realtors. Over here in the UK, we call them estate agents or real estate agents, if you will. So you would actually obviously type in like, real estate agents in, and you put a certain location, or you would go to LinkedIn and you would actually use LinkedIn, for example, or you would have to do some sort of Boolean search on Instagram, like using hashtags, or even follow somebody that you know already has a lot of real estate agents that are following them and go through the followers. It's a really good tip right there. And then what you'd have to do is either DM them on like LinkedIn, you'd connect with them on LinkedIn, DM them, or you'd send them an email using your Gmail account, or you would have to send like a Facebook message, something free basically is what I'm trying to say. Or you could even do cold calling. Cold calling technically, if you're not factoring in the actual, your monthly contract, because I'm pretty sure you might already be paying that if you've already got one. Or if not, you can borrow a friend's phone or whatnot. I think you can actually get a free Skype number these days as well. I'm not too sure, don't quote me on that. I haven't done cold calling in ages. I don't even really recommend it. But that's how you would go about building an agency, right? For free. Your onboarding process could technically be built using YouTube. So you can go and create a YouTube channel right now and actually create your 7 videos for your onboarding process. So you can definitely go about doing that. And then to back that up, you would also, use your business, business.facebook.com. You'd go there and you create your business manager. So technically, on paper, you can actually start an agency for completely free. Don't get me wrong, and if you have to do that, you have to. I basically started my agency with literally negative money in my account. I think it was like a negative 130. I've actually got the image on my actual Instagram somewhere. I literally have the letter from Barclays Bank, my actual student overdraft. It was literally a negative. It was in its negative, literally negative 130 bucks or 130 pounds or something like that in my actual account, which is like a negative $150. So you can, and I actually obviously still was able to scale my. It took me ages though, by the way. It took me absolutely ages because I had to do it all by myself. Is what I'm trying to say. This is the point I'm trying to make next. So it is possible. I've done it. There's been many other people to do it. In fact, I actually did it with negative money in my account, to be fair. The problem is though, do I recommend it? And the answer to that, honestly guys, is no. I don't actually recommend it. Here's why. you're going to end up, right? This is exactly what's going to happen. You're going to end up trying to do all this cold outreach yourself. And what I mean by that is, let's just skip, let me just go back a second. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to have to try and find all the leads yourself. So you're going to spend ages finding leads. Then you have to qualify the leads, which actually takes longer than the previous step, which is finding the leads. Because once you found the leads, that doesn't mean they're qualified. You didn't have to qualify them. Then you have to find the business owner's email address or their contact details, or find them on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever you're trying to DM them for free. And then what you're gonna have to do after that is then actually send them the message, which is personalized. And that takes even longer than both of these two previous steps combined. I am not even joking. Like actually personalizing, finding something good to actually put in your personalization, if you're doing it the right way and not using one of those friggin' first line writing personalization AI kind of like software. I don't recommend those, because the level of personalization I'm talking about is proper human to human personalization, and I don't recommend anything below that, to be honest with you guys. I know that we've all got this thing for trying to automate everything and cut corners, but I don't really even recommend that. So yeah, it's technically possible to do it for completely free, but do I recommend it? Like I said, no. And the reason for that is because, again, you're going to end up doing lead sourcing, prospecting, first line writing yourself, and it's going to take so much time, right? I'm not even joking, hear me out. It's going to take you so much time that you're actually going to get to a point where it feels like you're actually starting to despise and dislike the agency life, the actual business model itself. It's gonna be so tedious that you're actually gonna start disliking the actual business model. I am not even joking. There's been multiple times where I've sent hundreds of outreach by myself. I spent all this time doing all this outreach, right? All this vetting, all this qualifying, and I've reached out to a brand and they've just not even opened my email. It's so disheartening, so heartbreaking that this is gonna happen over and over and over and over again, hundreds of times, to the point where it literally feels like you wanna quit and you hate the business model. Now, on the other hand, here's what I recommend you do instead. I literally recommend, right, just selling some old stuff. Sell like your old PS4, sell your PS5. You're not gonna need that, guys. PS5, come on, grow up, guys. We're trying to, this is what I don't understand about gaming. Like, I see a lot of people, like, for example, like GTA online and stuff like that. I've played a lot of GTA online back in the day. What I can't understand with my friends is that, like, they're building this empire with this fictional character, and he's got all these cars, all this money and stuff like that. Obviously he's doing heists and shit like that, but the point I'm trying to make is, like, they're building up this character's life, when realistically what you should do is take that same mentality, if you will, and gamify your own entire life. So you should be the character, but in reality, and it's you that should actually be going about building your own empire. Obviously not doing heists though. You're doing it through legit business and stuff like that, is what I'm trying to say. So why are you spending all this time building up this fake character's life, right? It's not even real, to get all this stuff, all this money, all this glitz, glamour, or whatever it is, whatever you're chasing. I don't really recommend all that stuff anyway. But long story short, like, why are you doing all that when you could literally be spending that same time trying to build up yourself? That's why I never can understand gaming. Like, once I kind of like started reading like Rich Dad Poor Dad, all these business books, I started understanding that. Now, so what I do recommend, again, guys, is I do recommend sending your old stuff. Clothes, shoes. I did this, by the way. I sold my old iMac. I sold my Jordans. I had a huge collection of like Jordans, Air Jordans, if you will, Michael Jordan shoes, if you will, like Jordan 4s. I was a big shoe sneakerhead, if you will. So I sold pretty much most of those. What else did I sell? I sold my PS4. By the way, I used to love Assassin's Creed and friggin' Shadow of Mordor. Oh my god, those were my games. But I sold that. It hurt. But now I can literally buy a PS friggin' 5 every single day of the year for many years to come. Like, literally, guys, it's worth it. Is it worth it? 100%. Now, what I do recommend is, if you don't have anything to sell, literally just go and get like a simple job that literally just pays you maybe even $200 a month. A month, guys. I'm not even joking. The reason why I said $200 a month is because technically, if you want to scale your agency really quickly, and the most secure way I've found, the quickest way, is to literally just use Upwork and offer social media management to any niche. This is the thing with Upwork as well, by the way. I'm not affiliated with them, but here's what I recommend. Grab some money into the point where you've got at least $216, put that into Upwork Connects, right? Start applying to at least 10 to 20 jobs every single day, right? Because you're gonna get your connects back as well. And what I want you to do is scale up to like 2 to 3K per month with your agency, net profit. This might take you a month, it might take you 6 months. I've had students do this in literally 3 days. I'm not even joking, 3 days. Now what you want to do with this cash flow, right? Once it's actually coming in, now you can go and afford to build a website, have that hosted on WordPress. I'd actually just build a WordPress. You can have your onboarding process on WordPress and Vimeo, or WordPress and using YouTube channel. just embed the videos. Then you can also hire lead sources. Lead sources are the people that are actually going to find you leads, qualify the leads. Then you can obviously hire an actual a virtual assistant to do outreach for you, or what I like to call a first line writer. So now you've actually got much better systems in place. So you've gone from doing like 10 outreach per day by yourself, doing all this lead sourcing prospecting, to literally using Upwork to stack up smaller ticket clients that's not necessarily in your niche right now, or the service that you actually want to deliver, if you will. If, for example, if you want to do like Facebook ads for real estate agents, you can't really niche down on Upwork. Upwork is not really for that. Upwork is just for you to grab cash flow really quickly. So you don't really have to work a job, if you will. You can try to quit your job really quickly. I've had people do this very, very quickly, quit their jobs, all that sort of stuff. So what you want to do is you want to use Upwork, right? $216 per month is what you're actually looking at for Upwork Connects. I would say that's like the upper limit, if you will. Depending on how much outreach, obviously the more outreach you do, the more expensive it's going to be. But you want to do this Upwork stuff. Grab like 4 or 5 clients at like $500 net profit each. Now you're at like $2,500 net profit, right? Take that net profit and you want to invest into virtual assistants to actually go about finding leads for you, qualifying the leads, and then reaching out to them. By the way, I teach all of this inside of Intramutation. Not only this, but I actually give you over 1.2 million e-commerce leads. Not only, and then on top of that, I show you what to do with the leads, how to qualify the leads, as well as if you're not in the e-commerce space, I show you how to go about getting thousands, literally hundreds of thousands of local business leads. So for example, if you're in the dentist industry, or if you're in the real estate industry, gym industry, doesn't even matter what industry you're in, I'll show you how to go about finding creative ways of doing this, and then giving that strategy to an actual virtual assistant so that they can find you leads. And what this is going to do is going to eliminate all that painstaking lead sourcing, prospecting, and first line writing. So you're going to end up going from, should I say, by doing 10 outreach per day to literally doing 100 outreach per day without even touching anything, because you've got virtual assistants doing this for you. I literally 4 virtual assistants sending 25 emails a day. There's 100 outreach per day without you even touching anything. And I'm telling you, if you're doing 100 outreach per day, and you need, let's say, I don't know, 1,000, even if you need 1,500 emails to individual businesses, so 1,500 businesses, right? And you're doing 100 emails per day, that's only 15 days worth of work that you need to do to close one client. Not only that, but it's all automated. And because it's automated as well, there's a couple of benefits. Number one is that your actual virtual assistant is going to do it for you, which obviously saves you time. Number two is because your virtual assistant is getting paid to do that said job, they're always going to be more consistent than you. Because think about it, when you do your outreach right now by yourself, if you're in SMA and you start outreach, which you should have, by the way, when you finish the day doing your 25 outreach or however many you can crank out in a day, right? Which is probably not a lot, because obviously you're doing it all yourself. Nobody comes around and pats you on the back and says, well done, here's your money for the day for doing your outreach. That doesn't happen. But when you've got a virtual assistant, because they're actually being financially incentivized to do that said job, they're always going to be more consistent than you, because they're actually getting paid at the end of the day to do that said job. Then the next thing I've noticed as well is that it's better for your mentality, your mental health, because obviously it's a less tedious job, which eliminates stress because you're obviously outsourcing it. Not only that, but here's the big one that I found out. When you do get rejected from your outreach, because you're going to get a lot of rejections, by the way, guys. When you do get rejected from your outreach, because you technically didn't write the outreach yourself, it almost is just like water under the bridge. It doesn't even feel like they're actually, quote unquote, cussing you or swearing at you or telling you to F off. It's almost like you've got a barrier. I didn't even write this email anyway, so you're not even speaking to me. So it's really weird. When you send an email and you get a not interested and it really disheartens you? Well, because you've got a virtual assistant writing your actual email, if you will, and sending it, and then somebody says, F off, it literally feels like they're not even speaking to you, because you didn't even write the email anyway. It's just like, I don't even get it. So it's actually better for your mental health as well, is what I've actually found. There's a whole bunch of benefits to the hybrid system, and again, this is taught inside of Intramutation. It's still $200 off, so if you want to enroll in that, I do recommend it. The only reason why I actually do these plugs in these videos, by the way, guys, is because I know exactly what's going to happen. If you don't get Intramutation, you're just going to go and buy another program anyway. Then you're probably going to realize that that program's teaching you the exact same things I'm telling you not to do, which is doing cold outreach straight away. And then you're going to try all this cold outreach by yourself. You're going to feel so burnt out, so burnt out. It's going to be so tedious, so disheartening when you get those rejections. Then you're going to be like, oh my days, I wish I'd have enrolled into Intramutation. I've seen it, like pretty much 99% of my students that have gone through Intramutation have said the same thing. Gone through the guru programs, it's good, teach you the basics, but when it comes to outreach, lead sourcing, there's not real solid strategies there, which I don't blame them, because obviously the big gurus these days, not to give them any slack, not to give them like not to like talk down on them or anything like that. They're actually amazing. It's just that most of them are so big now that they probably never ever have to rely on outreach or figuring out these systems ever again in their entire life. Like literally. Why would somebody who has like 400, 500,000 subscribers on friggin' YouTube need to worry about waking up and doing outreach? Come on, guys. But anyway, long story short, guys, hope you've enjoyed this. Age Mutation is still down below. Still $200 off, so if you want to enroll in that, it's still $797 at the time of recording this. It will be going up to $997 eventually. So enroll now if you want to save yourself $200, which can go towards your systems. That being said, though, guys, hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.